The red telephone booth is as British as Buckingham Palace and Big Ben.
The phone box, you know where you are, you've got that, you're in England.
Travel across England and you'll see them.
It's part of British culture, isn't it, a telephone box?
They're in every nook and cranny of this country.
At its peak, I understand there was something like 70,000.
It's been here for so long. Red telephone boxes. That's part of our heritage, really.
How can I describe it?
It was a design icon.
But there's something missing. Customers.
I sit here waiting to go to church once a week, you know, and I never see anyone going in.
The most popular use for telephone kiosks now, red telephone boxes, is a photo opportunity by visiting tourists.
Time and technology have left the kiosk largely irrelevant.
Most people use their cell phones.
Ignored.
Empty, with their windows broken.
And abused.
It was pretty obsolete, actually.
Units such as this became very uneconomic.
Several years ago, the phone company decided to reduce the number of kiosks. For rural villages, that meant the phone booth would be gone altogether.
We thought, you know, that's it. We've done our little bit.
If it wasn't there, it'd be terrible.
That's the end of the story.
It could have been the end, but it wasn't. In fact, for this phone box, a new story was about to begin.
Once upon a time, in an old village square in Somerset, there lived a red telephone box called Beatty.
It's the true story of an English village.
This is Westbury-Sub-Mendip.
A tale of a small town.
Our town is not huge.
Thinking big.
Over the years, people gradually stopped using the box and instead ignored her completely and used their mobile phones. This made Beatty a very sad and lonely little girl.
British Telecom, who ran the phone box, had decided they were going to take the phones out of it, and we had to decide whether we were going to keep it.
It had to be kept, but what do you do with it? That was the problem.
We were left with literally an empty box.
Suddenly it went very quiet and everybody gathered around Beatty. They were talking of another use for her. Lots of ideas were put forward and one lady called Jan suggested using her for a book exchange.
And the idea is very, very simple. Have some books that you no longer require. Come and leave them in the kiosk. If you see anything there that appeals, please take it.
People bring a book, take a book. Fantastic.
And so it was in a country that gave us Shakespeare and Dickens. Books would save a dying icon.
It is very convenient.
And soon a man called Mr. Bob was put in charge. He rearranged the inside of the box to accommodate a host of wonderful books with a basket on the floor for the children.
It is open literally 24/7. There are no locks. There's a little light in the roof, so if you are an insomniac and fancy something to read, there's always something available.
People just come and bring books or DVDs.
A very famous book called Brideshead Revisited.
People tend to put books in that are worth reading rather than rubbishy things. So.
The idea caught on.
We're in the village of Chedworth in Gloucestershire.
We found one in this village.
The books change over quite frequently.
We're in Shipham.
And there's another book exchange up the road.
So it doesn't cost anything and you just come along and you put one book in and take one book out.
In fact, book exchanges began popping up all over Britain.
Now there are a lot of book exchanges in telephone boxes up and down the country following this idea in Westbury-Sub-Mendip.
So now it's not just a photo op, it's not irrelevant because of modern technology.
Let's use it so that we don't lose it, really.
So it would be a bit empty, the square without it somehow.
In many places across England, the famous red telephone booth has a new use, thanks to a tiny village that answered the call.
I think this was such a simple idea and it captured people's imagination.
Now Beatty is a very happy little girl. She has lots of visitors. Beattie felt so proud to be useful again. She's lonely no more. That's it.